Alright. Before we start, quick question. Have you ever spent half an hour working with AI and thought, I'm not actually sure I'm getting better at this?
Oh, people absolutely feel that. They try longer prompts, different prompts, more detailed prompts. And they're still wondering if all that time is actually worth it.
Which is a fair reaction. If the system is supposed to be intelligent, why does progress sometimes feel so uneven?
Because most people are focusing on the wrong capability.
You mean prompting?
Exactly.
Welcome to the series we call Unleash Your Creative AI Engine. This series explores how creative professionals are actually learning to work with AI.
And now episode 3, the skill almost no one talks about. And why this one skill changes everything with what you can produce with AI.
In the previous episode, we looked at why people get trapped rewriting prompts. And why directing the interaction produces much better results.
But that leaves an obvious question. If directing is the skill, what ability actually makes someone good at it?
It isn't prompting.
It's recognition.
The ability to notice when something promising just appeared.
And that turns out to be a very different skill than most people expect.
Most people assume the skill is figuring out the perfect prompt. If the result isn't quite right, they assume the prompt needs repair.
Which honestly feels like the obvious thing to do. You see a mistake. So you fix the instruction.
That behavior has a name. Repair mode.
In repair mode, the user believes the system is wrong. So they attempt to fix it.
Which sounds reasonable. But that approach is also where people get stuck.
Because repair mode assumes the answer already exists. The user just hasn't described it correctly yet.
But creative work rarely behaves that way. Often the interesting direction hasn't appeared yet.
Which means the real job isn't repairing outputs. It's noticing promising ones.
So instead of fixing the system, you're evaluating what it produces.
Exactly. That's the difference between repair mode and recognition mode.
Two very different ways of interacting with the same system.
To understand the difference, it helps to see the two approaches side by side.
On the left is the workflow most people begin with. You give the system a prompt, it responds, and then you try to fix what missed.
If it isn't quite right, the prompt gets rewritten and the loop starts again.
Now look at the column on the right.
Instead of a finished instruction, the interaction begins with a fragment.
The system expands, the human evaluates, and then the next move is directed from what appeared.
But the user is mostly repairing instructions.
Back to the column on the right. Instead of a finished instruction, the interaction begins with a fragment.
The system expands on that fragment.
Which gives the human something new to evaluate.
Then the system is redirected toward the most promising direction.
And the process continues as a loop.
Notice what's different between the two columns. Repair mode assumes the correct answer already exists.
Recognition mode assumes the interesting answer might not exist yet.
Which changes the role of the human completely.
The job isn't fixing the machine. It's recognizing signal.
And that ability turns out to be the real skill.
The skill almost nobody teaches.
Let's try a small experiment. We'll start with a simple topic.
Urban parks. From that idea, the system can begin branching outward.
That makes sense. Parks shape how a neighborhood feels.
Now here's the interesting step. If parks influence neighborhoods, what might that affect next?
Property values.
Parks tend to increase the desirability of nearby housing.
Which leads to another connection. If property values change, what happens next?
Zoning policy.
Because city planners respond to changes in land value and development pressure.
That's a pretty big chain from a single idea.
And the system can generate thousands of these connections.
The human role is deciding which ones matter.
That's recognition.
Noticing the branch worth following.
And ignoring the thousands that aren't.
Which brings us to another concept we'll explore soon.
The concept creative professionals call taste. What we just saw looks simple. But it reveals something important about working with these systems.
The system can generate a huge number of possible directions. But it doesn't know which one matters most to you.
That's where recognition becomes essential. The human identifies the promising signal.
And the system helps explore it further.
This interaction is very different from fixing prompts. It's more like guiding a discovery process.
Which honestly explains why some people get frustrated early. If you're trying to repair instructions, it feels slow.
But once recognition develops, the interaction accelerates.
Because the system can generate ideas faster than a human can type.
The bottleneck becomes judgment. Which is where another skill enters the picture.
A skill creative professionals have always relied on.
Taste.
The ability to recognize quality when it appears.
And that turns out to be the next major capability in this system.
In the next episode, we'll explore how taste actually guides the interaction.
And why people who develop it suddenly feel like the system got much smarter. Because in many ways, it did.